Hi everyone, today I will discuss the lesson 5 in operations management, which are the areas of concern in operations management: product design and service concept, competition, market, production, outsourcing, sourcing of raw materials, maximizing the use of materials, facilities and supplies, supply chain, and sales forecasting and cost and profit margins. Operations management is responsible for our aspect of creating goods and services. It manages resources such as materials, machines, technology, and people, and makes product and services that the marketplace wants. The whole chain of event must be well managed by the business to be competitive. As we define operations management more fully, we consider these foundations of operations management. One is planning. Operations manager must constantly forecast, plan, and adjust to optimize processes based on condition. Another is process. Production of goods or services requires having strong and repeatable processes. Efficiency. Manager must troubleshoot bottlenecks, inadequate resources, and downtimes to create optimal efficiency. Cost control. Production is typically a major part of the company's cost structure, and you must manage it wisely. The quality. Good quality control is necessary to maintain customer satisfaction and company's reputation. Companies can greatly suffer without it. Another is continuous improvement. To remain competitive, companies need to have processes in place to consistently seek better ways of doing things. Technology. Underlying of this foundation is technology. While well-used technology keeps a company ahead of the curve. And profitability. Executed properly, all of the above foundations lead to a strong bottom line. This depends on the company size and industry. At the startup or small companies, the operations person or people who work hand in hand with sales, marketing, finance, IT, and other people. However, operations teams at large companies also need to work closely with other departments to be effective. The work of operations, from planning to production to distribution, touches the work of most other departments. A company product or services, its lifeblood, and that's what operations provide. Everything else is other departments should, in a sense, support that. How an operations department fits into organization. Today's operations manager are deeply involved in strategy. Along with daily production role, here are several key strategy and tactic points. Use of the data, inventory analysis, data challenges, process design, forecasting and goal setting, collaboration among departments, being green, and managing people. Use of data is analytics are essential for strong planning, adjustment, and decision making. Two common types of efficiency metrics and effectively metrics. When you say inventory analysis, it is the inventory in the supply chain. ABC analysis comes into play. It divides inventory into three categories: A, B, and C. A has the most value and tightest control, and C has the least. When we say data challenges, it is often as fluid, which makes it difficult to compare. But newer systems and setup are making this easier and helping analysis and manager examine data in new helpful ways. The process design is researching, forecasting, and developing. A sound process takes expertise and energy, but the result can be lasting. Forecasting and goal setting, it is often combines a look of historical data with analysis of changing conditions. When we say collaboration among departments, it is a good communication and collaboration. Operation management can work effectively with finance, sales, marketing, human resources, and other departments. Being green is ecological soundness has become a strategic and legal necessity of the companies nowadays, especially in manufacturing. And lastly, managing people. With all the advancement in machinery and technology, people remain critical to the equation, though often in different types of jobs. You can think of operations management as three levels: strategic, tactical, and operations. To achieve the company's goals, operations manager develops strategies. Under those broad strategies are tactics or specific tasks and steps to implement the strategy. The third level, operations, refers to the daily control of production, such as scheduling, monitoring, and adjusting. There are principles of operations management. The 10 principles of management at his presentation at 2007 Conference of the American Production and Inventory Control Society by Randall is B. Reality. There is no universal solution to the problems in your business. Second is organization. You must organize all aspects of production into a coherent whole. 3 is fundamental. Adhere to fundamentals such as accurate inventory records. 4th is accountability. People try harder when they're held accountable. 5th is the variance. It is a part of every process. 6 is causality. Problems are often symptoms. Get in the root cause. Manage passion. People with a passion for their work will drive your company. Humility. You don't have to know everything. Success. Define success and change with the market. And change every manufacturing solution is temporary. Another set of operation management principle by author Dr. Richard Schonberger. His 16 principles are: team up with customers, know what they buy and use, engage in rapid improvement, maintain a unified process, involve employees' strategy, know the competition, focus, organize resources, invest in HR, maintain equipment, use the simplest, best equipment, minimize human error, cut time, shorten the product path to the customer, cut setup, pull the system, improve the workflow, and cut the waste by producing on demand, employ total quality control, fix root causes, and manage visibility. Let the market know about your achievement. There are types of production and production system. You can categorize production and production system in 3 ways: by technical elements such as machine and tools, and organizational behaviors such as people, division of labor, and informational flow. By production versus parts production. Process means it undergoes a physical chemical transportation such as paper or cement. Parts when parts are made and assembled in a product. And by lead time. Categories include purchase to order, make to order, assemble to order, and make to stock. What is product design? It is the process of designing on a unique characteristic and features of company's product. Product and design, service design. What does product and service design do? The various activity and responsibility of product and service design include: translate the customer wants and needs into product and services requirements, refine existing product and services by marketing, develop a new product or services by marketing and operations, formulate quality goals and marketing and operation, formulate cost target, accounting, finance, and operation, and construct and test the prototype, wherein the marketing, operation, and engineering. There are reasons for product and service design for or redesign. Product and service design has typically had a strategic implication for the success and prosperity of the organization. Organizations become involved in product and service design or redesign for a variety of reasons. The main forces that initiate design or redesign are marketing opportunities and threats. The factors that give rise to market opportunity and threats can be one or more changes. There are objectives of product and service design. The main focus of product and service design is customer satisfaction. It is essential for designers to understand what the customer wants and design with that in mind. Secondary focuses in product and service design relate to function, cost, potential profit, quality, appearance, and forecasting value. Ease of production, ease of assembly, and ease of maintenance or services. In general, design, operations, and marketing must work closely together, keeping each other informed and taking into account the wants and needs of the customer. In addition, legal environment and ethical consideration can influence the design function. What are the other issues in product and service design? Aside from the legal environment and ethical consideration, designer must also take into account products or services life cycle, how much standardization to incorporated, and the product or service reliability. What is the life cycle? Many new product and service go through a life cycle in terms of demand. When an item is introduced, it may be treated as a curiosity. Demand is generally how low because potential buyers are not familiar with the item. Many potential buyers recognize that all the bugs have probably not been worked out and that the price drop after the introductory period. Capacity and processing are designed for a low volume. With the passage of time, design improvements usually create a more reliable and less costly output. Demand then grows for this reason, and because of increasing awareness of the product or service, high volume will involve different methods and contribute to low cost. At the next stage in life cycle, product or service reaches maturity. There are few, if any, design changes and demand levels up. Eventually, the market becomes saturated, which leads to decline in demand. What is standardization? Standardization is the extent to which there is absence of variety in the product, services, or process. Standardized products are made in the large quantities of identical items. Standardization carries a number of important benefits as well as certain disadvantages. Standardized products are immediately available to customer and mean interchangeable parts which greatly lower the cost of the production higher, while increased productivity and making replacement or repair relatively easy compared with that customized. Design costs are generally lower. Another benefit of standardization is reduced time and cost to train employees and reduced time to design job. Lack of standardization is at times leads to serious difficulties and competitive struggle. High cost of design changes increases resistance to improvement and decreased variety result in less consumer appeal. There are phases in product design and development. Product design and development generally proceed in a series of phases. Idea generation. Idea development begins with the idea generation. Ideas can come from a variety source. What is an idea generation? Supply chains based, competitor based, research based. A supply chain can be a rich source of ideas. Customers, suppliers, distributors, employees, and maintenance and repair personnel can provide valuable insight. One of the strongest motivators for new and improved products or services is competitors' product and services. By studying a competitor's product and services and how the competitors operate. Pricing policies, return policies, and warranties, location strategy, etc. is an organization can glean many ideas. And some companies purchase a competitor's product and then carefully dismantle and inspect it, searching for a ways to improve their own product. This is called reverse engineering. Okay. Feasibility analysis entail to marketing analysis or the demand economic analysis, which is development cost and production cost profit potential, and the technical analysis, the capacity requirements and availability and the skills needed. The product specification involves detailed description of what is needed to meet customer wants process specification. Once product specification has been set, attention turns to a specification for the process that will be needed to produce the product. Alternatives must be weighted in terms in cost, availability of resource, potential profit, and quality. This involves collaboration between accounting and operation, and the prototype development with product and processes specification complete. What is market test? It is used to determine the extent of customer acceptance. If unsuccessfully returned to the design review, this space is handled by the marketing. Product introduction. Promote the product. This space is handled by marketing follow-up evaluation. The process selection is the technology, and technology innovation often have a major influence in business organization. Technological innovation refers to the discovery and development of a new or improved product or services or a process for producing or providing them. Process selection occurs as a matter of course when the products and services are being planning. However, it also occurs periodically due to changes in product or equipment as well as competitive pressure. Sales forecasting. Any forecast can be termed as indicator of what is likely to happen in a specific future time frame in particular field. Therefore, the sales forecast indicate as to how much of the particular product is likely to be sold in a specific future period in a specified market and price. Accurate sales forecasting is essential for a business house to enable it to produce the required quantity and the right time. It makes the arrangement in advance for raw materials, equipment, labor. Some firms manufacture on the order basis, but in general, firm produces the materials in advance to meet the future demand. Forecasting means estimation of quantity, type, and quality of work. For any manufacturing concern, it is very necessary to access the market trends sufficiently in advance. This is a commitment on the part of the sales department, and future planning of the entire concern depends on its forecast. The management of the firm is required to prepare its forecast of share of the market that can be hoped to capture over the period of forecasting. In other words, sales forecast is an estimate of the sales potential of the firm in the future. All plans are based on the sales forecast. This forecast helps the management in determining as to how much revenue can be expected to be realized, how much to be manufactured, and what shall be the requirements of men, machine, and the money. We can define sales forecasting as estimation of type, quantity, and quality of future sales. Goal of the sales department is decided on the basis of this forecast, and this forecast also help in planning future development of the concern. The sales forecast form a basis for production target. From above looking, it is important, it is essential that sales forecast must be accurate, simple, easy to understand, and economical. We can say that a sales forecast is an estimate of number of sales for a specified future period under a proposed marketing plan or program. Sales forecast can also be defined as an estimate of sales in terms of money or physical units for a specific future period under a proposed marketing plan or program and under an assumed set of economic and other forces outside of the unit for which the forecast is made. What are the importance of sales forecasting? Sales forecasting is a very important function of manufacturing concern since it is as useful and to determine production volumes considering availability of facilities like equipment, capital, manpower, space. It forms a basis of sales budget, production budget, natural budget. It helps in taking decisions about the plant expansion and changes in production mix, or should it divert its resource for manufacturing other product. It helps us deciding policy. It facilitates in deciding the extent of advertising. The sales forecast is a commitment on the part of the sales department and it must be achieved during the given period. Sales forecast helps in preparing production and purchasing schedule. Accurate sales forecasting is a very good aid for the purpose of decision making. It helps in guiding marketing, production, and other businesses activities for achieving this target. There are factors considered for sales forecasting. One is competition, changes in technology, government action, and factors related to concern itself. When we say competition, to assess demand, it is the main factor to know about the existing and new competitors and their future program, quality of their product, sales of their product, opinion of the customers, also the product of the other competitors with reference to the product manufactured by the firm must also be considered. Changes in technology. With the advancement of technology, new products are coming into the market and the taste of the likings of the customers changes with the advancement and change of technology. Government action is when the government produces or purchases, then depending upon the government policy and rules, the sales of the products are also affected. Factors related to the concern itself. These factors are related to change in the capacity of the plant, change in price due to the change in expenditure, change in product mix, or etc. Accurate sales forecasting is essential for a business house to enable to produce the required quantity at the right time. It makes the arrangement in advance for raw materials, equipment, and labor. Many firms manufacture on the other basis, but in general, very firm produces the material in advance to meet the future demand. There are two types of sales forecasting. One is short-term forecasting and the long-term forecasting. When we say short-term forecasting, this type of forecasting can be defined when it covers a period of 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Generally, the last one is most preferred. The period is dependent upon the nature of business. If the demand fluctuates from one month to another, forecasting may be done only for a short period. The purpose of short-term forecasting is to adopt suitable and production policy so that the problem of overproduction and short supply of raw materials machine can be avoided. To reduce the cost of raw materials and machinery, to have a proper control of inventory, to set the sales target, to have proper controls, and to arrange the financial requirements in advance to meet the demand. While the long-term forecasting, the forecasting that covers of 5, 10, and even 20 years, the period here are also depends upon the nature of the businesses. But beyond 12 years, the future is assumed as uncertain. But in many industries like shipbuilding, petroleum refinery, paper-making industry, a long-term forecasting is needed as the total investment cost of equipment is quite high. The purpose of long-term forecasting is to plan for a new unit of production or expansion of existing units to meet the demand, to plan the long-term financial requirements, to train the personnel so that the manpower requirements can be met in future. There are methods used for sales forecasting: the surveys of buyer's view, and the collection opinion or sales force polling. Survey of buyer's view, this is a direct method for making forecasting for short term, in which the customers are asked what they are thinking to buy in the near future, say, in the coming year. In this method, all the burden is with the customer, which may misjudge or mislead, or may be uncertain about the quantity to be purchased by them in a near future. The disadvantage of this method are consumers' buying intentions are irregular. When consumers have to select between different alternatives, they are unable to foresee their choices, and buyers may be anxious for purchasing the product, but due to certain limitations, they may be unable to purchase them. Collection opinion or sales force polling, this is a method that forecasting depends on the salesman's estimation for their respective areas, because the salesmen are closest to the customer, can estimate more properly about the consumer's reaction about the product and their future requirements. All the estimates of the salesman are consolidated to know the total estimate of the sales. This final estimate then goes through severe checking to avoid undue imagination, which is done many times by the salesman. The revised estimates are then again examined in the light of factors like expected change in design, change in prices, advertisement, competition, purchasing power of local people, employment, and population. This method of collection opinion takes advantage of collection wisdom of salesmen, senior executive like production manager, sales manager, marketing officials, and managers. The advantage of this method is simple and requires no statistical technique. The forecasts are based on the knowledge of salesmen who are directly responsible for the sales. And in practice, this method is much useful in the case of new product. The disadvantage of this method is useful only for a short-term forecasting, maximum of 1 year. As the forecasting is dependent upon the salesman estimation, and if sales quotas are fixed, then they, in general, underestimate the forecast. As salesmen have no idea about the economic changes, the estimate of them are not correct many times. And as the estimation is full-time job, the quality to look into the future must be with the salesman. Well-established firms which have considerable data on sales. These data are arranged in chronological order known as time series. Time series are analyzed before making the forecast. There is common method known as project the trend. In this method, the trend line is production by some statistical method, generally by least square period. The time series forecasts are demand characterized over time. These time series data are analyzed for forecasting future activity levels. Time series refer to the set of values of some variables measured at equally spaced time interval, such as monthly production levels, demands in the market. There are elements of a good sales forecasting: accuracy, simplicity, economy, and availability. Accuracy is the previous method must be checked for what of accuracy by observing the prediction made in the past are accurate or not. Simplicity is the method must be simple and easily understandable. It should satisfy top management people. Economy, for an undertaking cost is main factor, so the method adopted should be considered the minimum cost. And availability, the technique must be able to produce meaningful result quickly. The technique which takes time to produce useful information is of no use. There are procedures of making a sales forecast. One is to state whether the forecasting is a short-term or long-term, is objective only for a single undertaking or for the whole industry. Second is to select a good method of forecasting. Third is select different variables which are affecting the forecasting. Fourth, gather the data for different variables. Fifth, determine best possible relationship by some statistical method between different variables. And lastly, make forecast and interpret the result. Following points must be made clear before making a forecast. Forecast must be made in terms of rupees of sales volume or in units. Forecast must be made on annual basis and then further divided as requirement. Forecast for new product by month-wise may be done either using other manufacturing concern data or by survey. And last, forecast must be made in terms of product groups and broken for individual products. The division may be according to the sizes, brand, cables, colors. A typical example shows how the product group is divided. There are points must be considered before making forecast of a new product. Treat the demand of a new product as an existing old product. Treat the new product as a replacement for some existing product. Estimate demands for making inquiries by purchaser. Offer a new products for sale in sample market. Survey the customer reaction via dealers. Selection of forecast. There are several guidelines for selecting forecast by available forecasts. One of them is prefer those forecasts which have reasoning underlying forecasts. Prefer those forecasts which are preferred by qualified personnel, as the future is uncertain. He must tell his assumption on which forecast is based. Look into the previous year's forecast. Survey should be examined as to why the forecasts are right or wrong. Use other forecasts which are reliable. Prefer those forecasts which are preferred using different techniques, and reject that particular forecast in which forecaster injected in himself too strongly as an individual into his forecast. There are uses of sales forecast. Product planning, product expansion, financial planning, inventory control, production control, and sales planning. Sales forecast can be used for the following purposes. It helps the management to design the marketing strategies. It helps in preparing the budget and for setting financial policies. With reliable sales forecast, it is possible to produce an average rate so that the plant capacity and the manpower is fully utilized during the entire period. The forecasting enables to overcome seasonal variation. It helps in material planning and avoid the evils of both the overstocking and understocking. From forecasts, we can find out which product is more profitable and which can be manufactured and which should be dropped. And long-range forecasts can predict future demand trends, which will enable the planning for expansion for the concern. And last lesson is about supply chain management. Supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services and includes all processes that transfer raw materials into final product. It involves the active streamlining of business supply side activities to maximize customer value and gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Supply chain management represents an effort by suppliers to develop and implement supply chains that are efficient and economical as possible. Supply chains cover everything from production to product development to the information system needed to direct these undertakings. How supply chain management works. Typically, the supply chain management attempts to centralize control or link the production, shipment, and distribution of the product. By managing the supply chain, companies are able to cut excess costs and deliver products to the customer faster. This is done by keeping tighter control of internal inventories, internal production, distribution, sales, and inventories of company vendors. Supply chain management is based on the idea that nearly every product that comes to the market results from the efforts of various organizations that make up a supply chain. Although supply chains have existed for ages, most companies have only recently paid attention to them as a value add of their operation. In supply chain management, the supply chain manager coordinates the logistics of all aspects of the supply chain, which consists the 5 parts: the plan or strategy, the source, manufacturing, delivery and logistics, the return system, and the supply chain manager tries to minimize shortages and keep costs down. What is supply chain? It is connected network of individual, organization, resources, activities, and technologies involved in the manufacture and sale of the product or services. A supply chain starts with the delivery of raw materials from the supplier to a manufacturer and ends with the delivery of the finished product or services to the end consumer. Supply chain management oversees each touch point of the company's product or service from initial creation to the final sale. With so many places along the supply chain that can be add value through efficiency or lose value through increased expenses, proper supply chain management can increase revenues, decrease costs, and impact on the company's bottom line. And the profit margin is one of the commonly used profitability ratios to gauge the degree to which the company of business activity makes money. It represents what percentage of sales has turned into profit. Simply put, the percentage figure indicates how many cents of profit the business has generated for each dollar of sales. There are several types of profit margin in everyday use. However, it usually refers to the net profit margin, a company's bottom line after all expenses, including taxes and one-off DDTs, have been taken out of revenue. And that's all for today. Thank you.